So this time from the Marvel Legends 2012 Wave 2, we're taking a look at Drax. Now, Drax is a pretty old character, but this is a new reinterpretation of him. Here, we're going to take a look at the back of the package here. So you get a little blurb about him. Doesn't really give too much, unfortunately. Drax is an older character that only recently really received a little bit of a buzz because of his inclusion in some of the cosmic miniseries done recently, like Annihilation, and even the ongoing series, The Guardians of the Galaxy. You wouldn't know that from the little blurb, and, you know, it's not like they don't have room to add just a little bit more, but they've decided they wanted to showcase the art, and I guess that's okay. Here is Drax. It's a pretty nice sculpt here. I really like the face sculpt here. A lot of attitude on the face. I like how they've put a knife on here. Unfortunately, it's sculpted on. You know, they could have done like a sheath thing there too, but they decided to sculpt that on for some reason. One problem that I do have, I think his upper torso is just a little bit too small for Drax the character, and it looks a little bit odd to me. If they just went a little bit bigger, I think it would look a lot better. For the most part, it's alright. This left hand here and forearm isn't really painted all that well. You can see it did get some on the underside here, but was left pretty much unpainted on the other side, and that really doesn't blend well with the rest of the arm. And that's drawn a lot of criticism from some of the reviews I've seen, and it's pretty valid, I think, as they did a little bit better job on this one, but it is kind of faked out by the sculpted knife and bandage there, or wrap that they have there. It's also pretty apparent here on the undersides of the arm here. It doesn't quite match the undersides of this arm, you know, of the shoulder piece there. And, you know, but the outer pieces, the outer part of the arms do really match well. So, as long as you keep them pointed inwards, it's not really that apparent. But that is a pretty valid criticism of the figure. For accessories, he's got 2 knives, and they fit in very tightly to his hands. They're soft and rubbery. And he does have on his belt here, which is actually removable. You can unclip it, but I'm going to leave it there. And again, like most of the other belts in this series, they kind of floats there. I wonder if that's a cost-saving method, or you know, they just really wanted to give people the option of taking the belt off. I don't know. But he does have holsters here in the belt for his knives, but they don't really work, if you ask me. They stick out too far. You can see here that it just looks odd. I mean, you compare it to the Marvel Universe figure of Drax, which has the same feature on it, and it works a lot better because they're more angled down, and they they're further back on the belt here. So it's a lot better on that figure. So kudos for trying. You really didn't succeed there. And mostly, I'm probably just going to leave the knives in the hands itself. So let's get to articulation. I guess this is going to be pretty standard for the Marvel Legends now. The neck and head here look up pretty well, pretty far, and down as well. And they're on this joint which allows you to move it a little bit forward and back, so he gets that kind of groove going with the head and neck. His arms do go all the way around, out to the side, rotate at the bicep, double elbow joints. He rotates at the forearm. There's no wrist movement, articulation. His upper torso articulation here is pretty good. Moves back pretty far and crunches down pretty far too. He's got waist articulation. The legs at the hips, they rotate, and so you can move it forward and back, and very nice upper thigh articulation there, so you can manipulate them both to get his legs forward, and they do go out to the side and in as well. He's got double knee joints, no joint at the on the lower leg until the foot, which does go left and right and forward and back, but it does not have the ankle pivot that a lot of these other figures do. So anyway, Drax first appears in Iron Man number 55 in 1973, and his real name is Arthur Douglas, and he's driving through the desert on a vacation with his wife and daughter. His daughter's name is Heather. When the car is attacked by a spaceship, and the spaceship is piloted by Thanos, who is, I guess, just escaped Titan, and he attacks their vehicle, and, you know, thinking that they've seen it and might be able to report it to other Titans who are searching for him. So he and his wife are killed, and his daughter is the only survivor of the attack. And she's discovered by other Titans' mentor, who was actually Thanos' father, and raised on Titan. Now, the Titans are Eternals that have colonized the moon of Jupiter, Titan, and they have their own race there, of which Thanos is an insane member of. And this mentor, while taking care of the baby, also realizes the chance to create a weapon, a living weapon, against Thanos. And so he takes the soul, the consciousness of Arthur Douglas, and creates a new body for it, thus creating the being known as Drax the Destroyer. Now, Drax the Destroyer is a very big, physically muscular humanoid, and looks nothing like this aside from the green skin. So his job basically is to hunt down Thanos and kill him whenever he pops up. Unfortunately, because other writers keep, like the idea of Thanos so much, he is very rarely encounters Thanos, and so Thanos has been dealt with by other people like Captain Marvel, and it actually dies a few times and is resurrected a few times before there's any confrontation between Drax and Thanos. Now, his daughter, Heather Douglas, becomes the Titan known as Moondragon, and eventually they do hook up together, reunite, and they go off to live on this planet. Unfortunately, Moondragon, her powers, which include telepathy and telekinesis, they get the better of her, and she starts to impose her will on this planet against, their will, basically creating a dictatorship. And Drax betrays her, notifying the Avengers. So the inhabitants of this planet are freed, but before she is defeated, she uses her psychic powers to force his soul to vacate the body of Drax, basically killing him. And then when Thanos is resurrected yet once again, the Titans resurrect Drax. But he's retained some form of brain damage because of Moondragon's attack, and thus is slower and angrier, much more Hulk-like than before. So eventually Drax gets into a fight with the Captain Marvel's son, Genisval, and is transported to the microverse along with him. And it's there that he seems to recover a bit mentally, and starts to regain some of his humanity. And also, he kind of finds a place where he's accepted, and he decides to stay there. But he shows up kind of out of the blue, isn't really explained, on an alien prison transport, and that crashes down to Earth. And he's back to his big powerhouse mode, but he still helps to fight off some of the other alien criminals that were on board the transport. I think there's the Power Scroll and some other, aliens that have shown up in various other Marvel comics through the years, from attacking the residents. He is killed in defending them, but this new, skinnier, leaner, and smarter Drax emerges from the body of that bulkier, Hulk-like Drax. And he and a young girl that he encounters that reminds him, or when he was back in his Hulk-like form, he thought was actually his daughter Heather. He and this girl Cammy are taken along with the other prisoners whom are defeated, and they're taken back by another transport And he then shows up in the Annihilation series, the Annihilation storyline, having survived an attack on the prison by Annihilus and the Annihilation Wave. And he hooks up then with some other cosmic heroes, and he starts to train Rich Rider or Nova how to be a better fighter, so that they can fight off the Annihilation. And in the Annihilation, there's this plot to, the heroes get together and they are going to try to appeal to Thanos to get him to turn on the Annihilation Wave and Annihilus. But due to his programming to kill Thanos, he actually manages to kill Thanos before they're even able to try and get him to help against Annihilus. And however, he does free Galactus, who is taken prisoner by Annihilus, and so I guess kind of redeems himself for going off and killing Thanos too quick. He next shows up in part of the Annihilation Conquest storyline, where he's possessed as one of the Select by the Phalanx, who Ultron is controlling now. And once he's freed of that, he joins the cosmic heroes who have reformed into, or formed this new group called the Guardians of the Galaxy. And during that, the Guardians of the Galaxy are put into this alternate reality where he attacks Thanos, but unfortunately is killed by him, and he has not shown up pretty much since. So his fate is really unknown at the time. I mean, they could revive him like they've done before, but he's really was a cool character in Guardians of the Galaxy. Cool badass character in Guardians of the Galaxy. So I guess that'll be it for Drax. And until my next review, which will be on Phantom X, I'll be seeing you.